And if any of their fans are watching, I
Here we
don't
go.
care. Out the league. Guys, hello. Welcome back to week 7 of the Premier League predictions. We really are getting into the swing of the season now, and the table is taking a little bit of shape. Scott, we are going to throw it over to you straight away. But guys, before I do us a favor, do hit that like button and subscribe if you are new here. Scott, first game of the weekend. 8 games on a Saturday in 2023. Can you believe it? And first up is Villa versus Brighton. This is
This is going to be an interesting one, actually. There's 2 games that I've picked out as the ones I'm looking forward to this week, and this is definitely one of them. Aston Villa, who take on Brighton. 2 teams that would have been slightly disappointed, I think, by what they did in Europe, obviously, last week. But both then repaid that with great results at the weekend. Obviously, Matoma looked on fire for Brighton. And it was good to see, if you're a Villa fan anyway, Watkins getting himself back on the score sheet and getting a goal. I think this is going to make for a very good and close game between the two. And I think both of them have got goals in them. So I've gone for actually very entertaining 2-2 draw in this one.
Oh, he's gone for the Desmond 2-2. I've actually gone for Villa. I've gone for a home win, and that's going to be surprising. 2 good teams. But I've gone Villa 2, Brighton 1. Hi guys, do us a massive favour. If you are enjoying the video, do hit that like button.
And if you're new here, please do hit that subscribe button too. And let's get back to talking about these Premier League predictions.
Next up is Bournemouth, and they are at home to Arsenal. And I don't think this is a shoe-in. I don't think Arsenal are going to batter Bournemouth. Bournemouth, in all fairness, they have looked decent this season. You've got to say that. I know they only sit one place above the relegation zone, but they have had some really tough fixtures this season. And for Arsenal, to give that goal away against Spurs after just scoring, so vulnerable when you've just scored. Jorginho, just not having the minutes and got caught in the middle. I'm going to give it Arsenal, but I don't think they run away with this. I'm going to go for a 2-0 away win.
Interesting. I've gone for a similar scoreline. I've gone for 3-1. I think, Arsenal might find it hard though, because as we know, there's a lack of balance in that team, I think. And also, injuries are starting to get a little bit more for them, but I have gone for them to get the win. Let's move on to speak about a team that did get a win at the weekend, and that was Everton. Obviously great for them to get the win, and also to see Dominic Calvert-Lewin back, and of course also back on the score sheet as well. But they take on a Luton team who themselves may have a bit more confidence. They maybe did it in some controversial fashion in regards to whether it was a pen, whether it was not. But they still managed to get a result against the Wolves team. And I do have to say, particularly in the first half, I actually think they looked the much better team and created the much better chances in the game as well. I don't think it's going to be an easy game for Everton, but you do have to think about the fact that obviously Everton are at Goodison Park, and I think that will be enough for them to get this done, especially now, they've got Calvert-Lewin back and other striker options that potentially look like they could solve their goal drought. So I've gone for Everton 2, Luton 1 in this one.
I like the look of that better. I think Everton are going to have confidence. I'm going for a clean sheet for the home side. I'm going 2-0 to Everton. Next up is Manchester United, and scraping past Burnley with a 1-0 win with a wonder strike from Bruno Fernandes. Cheers, Bruno, in my FPL. I needed that. Unbelievable volley. And for Palace, do you say a draw in the Premier League is a good result, even though you're at home? Probably maybe was a fair result, but Palace looked like a good team. I really thought about giving Palace a result here. I really, really did. I don't know why, but I'm just going to back United, even though I don't think they're great. I'm going to go 2-0 United. I don't... What am I talking about? Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 United. I don't know why either. I don't know why, but I am.
I think it's one of them, isn't it? Obviously, United, it's not the same United. I was looking at their team. They don't look anything near what we had when we were growing up, especially. But I have got them to get the win as well. I've gone 2-1. And I think even though he hasn't gotten the score sheet yet, that Højlund has gave him a bit more of a better balance up front as well. So I fancy him to maybe get on the score sheet. Talking of teams that get on the score sheet, we're talking about Newcastle next, who take on Burnley. And of course, after getting a good result, I thought, at the San Siro in midweek last week, they then followed that up by absolutely wiping the floor with Sheffield United. They looked really, really good. And it's mad, isn't it? A couple of weeks ago, we were speaking about Eddie Howe. The media was speaking about Eddie Howe. Is he under pressure? What's going to happen? Newcastle aren't looking the same. Well, they've come back from their international break and they've put that to bed, haven't they? They look a great team. Anthony Gordon as well, looking like a very good signing, I do have to say. They take on a Burnley team that find themselves in the bottom three. And I think it's really interesting that it's the three newly promoted teams that at the moment find themselves in the bottom three. Is that showing how big a gap there is in the Premier League compared to the Championship, perhaps? But they've got obviously a big task, haven't they, Burnley? They've got to try and get a result soon. They've got to start trying to turn things around, but I don't think they're going to do it against Newcastle. I've got Newcastle 3, Burnley 0.
I'm rectifying that as well. I'm replicating that as well. 8-0, 8 different scorers. The first time in Premier League history that has happened. And a hat-trick of assists for Trippier, I think. What an FPL weekend. I'm going at 3-0 as well. Next up is our club. And oh, no, it's not. Sorry, I do tell a lie. It's actually West Ham first. I do apologise, West Ham fans. You are at home to Sheffield United, a team that we just spoke about, losing 8-0. And you've got to say, after the Antonio comments before the Liverpool game, saying, I think we're going to beat them quite comfortably. I think we're going to finish above them in the table this season. And then for it to come back, I did find that quite funny. But, I mean, to have a footballer with a podcast in this day and age, I think it's quite refreshing. I'm not going to lie. I take what he says with a pinch of salt anyway. But I think West Ham get the result here. I think Sheffield United, they could be worse than Luton this season. Everyone's got Luton to finish rock bottom. It could be this Sheffield team. I'm going West Ham 2, Sheffield United 0.
Yeah, just on the Antonio thing, I do agree. It's obviously nice to hear him and Callum Wilson obviously doing what they're doing. But I do think when you're going to make comments like that against a very good Liverpool team, even if it is tongue-in-cheek, stuff like that is going to come back to hurt you. So I'd be interested to know what West Ham's fans take on it. But in regards to this week, I don't think whatever Antonio says is going to cause any problems for them. I've actually gone West Ham 3, Sheffield United 0. I don't see Sheffield United bouncing back really with some shock result. They look terrible at the moment, to be honest. Let's move on to another team that looks, well, let's be honest, terrible. Our team, Wolves, who take on the very easy task of Manchester City. Now, of course, you could say with Wolves, we've had been a bit unlucky with VAR decisions. That doesn't excuse the fact that, let's just be honest, we look poor. We look really poor. And I'm not even going to waste too much time giving my opinion on this because, let's face it, I think every single person watching this is going to predict a Man City win. Even me as a Wolves fan, I'm predicting a Man City win. I don't think they're going to have any problem at all. Man City 4, Wolves 0.
I just want to say, if it wasn't for the United VAR controversy and at the weekend, we should have 8 points. Let's be honest, we should have 8 points, and it puts us like 11. But anyway, I've gone Wolves 3, Man City. No, I've gone the same as you. Wolves 0, Man City 4. I don't see how we stop them at all. The days of us beating Man City are gone. Next up is Spurs, and they are at home to Liverpool. Big games for Spurs, back to back. It's a revitalised Spurs team. I fancy them in this game. I do fancy them. I know Liverpool are the closest team to City, and if they want to compete for the league this season, they're going to have to just stay as close to them as possible. And what I like about Liverpool is they are finding different scorers, whether it is Darwin, whether it is Salah, whether it is Jota. We saw McAllister heavily involved at the weekend. I just don't think they get it done this weekend. I'm going to go for another Desmond 2-2.
You've gone for a 2-2. And I think this is going to be obviously a good game. This is the other game that I mentioned earlier that I have been looking forward to. And it is two teams playing really well that are going to go at each other. And I've also replicated that. We seem to be agreeing on a lot of results, not even just results, scores this week as well. I've also gone 2-2 as well. And let's move on to Nottingham Forest next, who take on Brentford. And of course, say it all the time when Nottingham Forest are at home. Nottingham Forest are always a good team at home. And I do have to say, obviously, they did lose to Manchester City, but if I was a Forest fan, I'd be happy with the fight that I saw from them. Obviously, in some ways, you know, the fight and the passion they brought managed to get good old Rodri sent off as well. That was a little bit clever, I think, for Morgan Gibbs-White. But you've got to try these things against this Man City team. It's probably the only way to actually try beat them. Brentford, on the other hand, they've gone on down maybe a little bit, dropping form. From what I've been seeing, they obviously are picking up injuries and they are suffering from that. They've maybe not got the biggest, most in-depth squad compared to perhaps maybe some other teams. And I think, especially with Forest being at home, I'm going to back Forest in this one. I think Forest have looked really good this season. So I'm going to go Nottingham Forest 2, Brentford 1.
Ooh, yeah, not a great result for Brentford last week, of course. I'm going to go for 1-1. I think they share it. I'm going to go Forest 1, Brentford 1. Next up is Fulham. They are at home to Chelsea, and in years gone by, we'd have just said Chelsea 3, Fulham 0, more than likely. However, if Chelsea do not score in this game, they have no entries to their Premier League goal of the month candidates, which I love it.
Hilarious, isn't it?
When the big dogs struggle, it's so great as a fan of a club like Wolves, you know. Is this a shock, Scott? I've gone Fulham 2, Chelsea 1. Am I being stupid saying that? Looking at the teams at home? Fulham 2, Chelsea 1.
I haven't agreed with you, but I can't say it's a shock. I can't even say it's a bad prediction either, to be honest.
No.
You know, I mean, the one thing I would say about Chelsea is they're obviously struggling for goals. I mean, that's probably the most obvious statement of this video. You know, they've got Broja coming back, haven't they? Could he do something? I mean, if you've spent £1 billion and you're pinning your hopes on Broja, I think that says it all about Chelsea. But I don't know why. I'm backing them to get the win. I've gone Fulham 0, Chelsea 1. I just feel at some point they've got to win. Look how much money they've spent. But yeah, of course, we have got a bonus game though, haven't we? To finish off these predictions.
The worst bonus game in Premier League history. Burnley away to Luton. I'm sorry. And if any of their fans are watching, I don't care. Out the league. Get out. But Luton Burnley on a Tuesday night.
I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? You know, it's not surprising that not too many people will be that asked about this prediction, but no. I think it could still be a good game. I do, just maybe because you're going to be seeing two teams that just aren't that fantastic going at each other.
Yeah.
I've backed Luton to get their first win. Come that game.
Oh,
Luton at home. I'm going to go Luton 2, Burnley 1. And I think we've spoke a lot about Luton needing good home form. Well, they're definitely going to need to beat the teams like Burnley when they're at home to have any chance of staying in this league. So, Luton fans, I've maybe recovered what James has said. I've said Luton 2, Burnley 1.
I did insult Burnley fans as well, and you haven't said anything about them. Burnley fans, I will apologise now and say 2-1 to you. After what I saw against Wolves with 10 men for so long, and they only won, I got a draw, with another, it's either inept or corrupt VAR decision against Wolves. So I've gone Burnley 2, Luton 1. But yeah, 2 shocking teams. Get them out the league. Just get them out.
Guys, if you haven't enjoyed the video and you're not a Burnley or a Luton fan, because we're not going to get you guys liking the video, are we? But if you're not and you've enjoyed it, please hit that like button. Please do subscribe, and we shall catch you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye.